How we doing? How are 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 we doing? Let the chat build up a little bit. Have a quick sip of water, and we get going. We get going. Let's just have a quick sound test. Oh, sounds perfect. Yeah, we're good. Ah, when's the last time? Okay, it's not technically two lives in a week. It's not technically two lives in 2 weeks, but but they're a bit more frequent, aren't they? A bit more frequent, a little bit more frequent. We get the chat to build up. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. We've already got 7 likes. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. There's a reason why I don't tend to do an awful lot of lives midweek. Kind of this early midweek is it tends to be once you hit in with the Champions League, yeah, it's a bit difficult. And that's tomorrow. So there's none on tonight. So I said, you know what? Let's get some recording. Let's get some recording done. I know this weekend we've got a really, really big fight in America. We've got a really, really big fight in America of Benavidez versus Morell. And to me, that's a real, obviously, we're going to talk about this, but that's a real intriguing fight in of itself. And that's really it. It's been a bit of a quiet week, to be honest with you. I mean, last year was just, or sorry, last week was just all action. This week's a little bit more quiet, but I think we're coming into February now. We're coming into busy month. Yeah, let's talk about Dubois. Before we do that, let's have a quick look through the chat. Evening to Ben. How are you, my man? Yo. Yo. That is all right. Right. So you know what? Some of the names they do crack me up, some of them. Some of you guys have some really, yeah, really, you really do, yeah. Let's go, champ. Come on, Duckface Dubois. I don't believe a big up to Magic. I don't believe he's overlooking Parker. He is locked in on demolition. Black boots, black shorts, black cape. Says it all to me. Dubois will take out Joseph Parker inside 7 rounds. How boring a topic can you get? And yet you're still watching. And as Magic says, turn it off. If you don't like the topic, then simple as you know what to do. But no, I must watch and try and feel a bit better about myself. But yeah, that's how it is. Andrew, weigh in. Will be interested if Dubois has gotten fat. Some people have been saying that. Some people have been saying that they feel. For me, Dubois looks same old, same old. I was a little bit surprised how heavy he was weighing in there against Anthony Joshua, but it didn't appear to affect him. And it does seem lately, like certainly since the Alexander Usyk fight, that and I think it was Magic there who said the same, who said as much. And he's quite right, to be honest with you. Dubois, you could say he's more arrogant, which I wouldn't be arguing with you if you said that. He does come across that way, but he's also a lot more locked in. It just seems as almost now that he's more, I want to say, comfy in his skin and his ability, and he just seems locked in and ready to go. By the way, 41 in the building. If you haven't already hit the like button, I will greatly appreciate it. By the way, we hit 22K subs. We hit 22K subs yesterday. And we must be doing something right because we only hit 22K yesterday and we're already on 22,040 subs. So we're doing quite well. We're doing quite well. So, we keep that momentum going. So hit the like button. As I said, please hit the like button. 47 in the building. Let's get these likes up. Let's get the people watching. Let's get the people watching. Let's get people, let's get people commenting and let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. I haven't, mate, to be honest with you. I haven't really watched. You see, if he's uploading them on Instagram, I haven't used Instagram in well over a year. Like when I say I haven't used, I don't have an account anymore. I got rid of that a long time ago. I think back end of 23. So I'm not really following. I know. Well, I don't know for the whole camp, but I know, and obviously it would make sense not to do the whole camp in Dublin because he does train. He trains in South Dublin. I forget where does Andy Lee live? Is it Dalkey or somewhere like that? He trained in a nice part of Dublin. I know that. I know that. Hello from New Zealand. Big up to Oliver. Hello from New Zealand. What time is it over there for you guys, man? It would got to be morning in New Zealand now, wouldn't it? It's about 12 hours, isn't it? Stop making excuses. How am I making excuses? I'm asking the question. Dubois, or Parker will school and stop Dubois. That's a major prediction. School and stop Dubois. Do I think Parker can win? Yeah, I do. But to school and stop him? Oh, I don't know about that, man. I don't think Dubois is the sort of guy who will allow himself just to basically get, picked apart by Joseph Parker. I think he'll try and put it on him. And we've seen in the past when fighters do try and put it on Joseph Parker, very physical fighters, things can happen. Happy Lunar New Year. Every East Asian and Southeast Asian countries are celebrating right now. I know that, there's literally across the street from me, there's like an Asian shop. They do kind of Japanese. It's a not a convenience store, but it's a store, and I get a lot of ramen noodles. Ramen noodles are nice, and I get some ramen noodles out of there. And they actually gave me a fortune cookie and a couple of free hard candies. They're actually quite nice. And they actually said the same. They said Happy New Year. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, it's Chinese New Year. So yeah, big up to them. Benavidez. Yeah, man, that's going to be an interesting fight. Prediction video will go live tomorrow night. Say tomorrow evening around about 6-7. I'm eager, man. I'm locked in. I'm flipping locked in on that one. I see Parker beating Dubois. Do you know something? What I never really do on this channel, I don't really tend to do a lot of. I don't really do a lot of community posts in general. But on the community tab, you have the ability to be able to leave polls. And I'd be very interested because it seems from the outside looking in, a lot of people are going with Dubois, just from the outside looking in, say on X or something like that. But when I go on YouTube, and let's be frank, right? People like Jay Jameson and people like Get Up and people like Kid Mania. Yous would be more in the realm of, yous understand it a lot more. Yous understand boxing. Yous are watching these videos, you'd have a good eye for it. So I'd be real interested to see what the perception is from people on YouTube, because let's be frank, 22K is very, very good, but like it's predominantly hardcores, this is how it's going to be. All this DD is overlooking Dubois, DD is overlooking Parker, is fence sitting, and hello. Big up, man, big up. Dubois is gonna knock Joseph Parker out in 6 to 8 rounds, one proof. Just watch Parker versus White. The fight will be similar, but Parker will be on the back foot 90% more in that fight. Well, I actually think that Dubois is better than Dylan White. A peak Dylan White, I think Daniel Dubois is better. And you're not wrong. I look at that fight and I think, sheesh, Parker at times, he did. You see, with that fight though, you have to remember, Parker lost that fight more than Dylan White actually won it. And I think now we do have a more aggressive, he's not crazy aggressive, but we do have a more aggressive Parker under Andy Lee. So maybe we'll see a little bit more from him. Big up to Thomas. How are you? I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a bit of a quiet week, but I don't really mind too much. It's been last week was really, really good on here. So I kind of afford myself a little bit of rest time. I'm doing some work with Ade on Thursday. Looking forward to that, man. That's going to be good fun. And yeah, me and him. Just watch the space. Watch the space, man. Watch the space. It's we're doing some stuff. Dubois reminds me of Lenny from Mice and Men. Never seen that. Get up again. Anybody who thinks Parker is going to beat Dubois needs to study boxing properly. Parker walked onto Zhang's best punches and got up and marched onwards. I doubt Dubois hits harder than Zhang. Well, I don't think he hits harder than Zhang. I agree with you there. I don't think so. But he certainly hits very hard. And yeah, Parker, I was watching the highlights again of Parker versus Zhang. Mate, Zhilei Zhang, he is like, that guy's punching power is scary. The fact that it looks almost effortless when he lets those big shots go, and the effect he has is crazy. Man, Zhilei Zhang may have may be the worst conditioned heavyweight in terms of top heavyweights in terms of stamina, but his punching power is flipping crazy. Dubois has good stamina and a very good chin. It gets stronger as the fight goes, similar to Usyk. Although we capitulated in the Usyk fight, but yes, I do agree with you. He shown the problem with Dubois is though he needs a decent chin because if you look at Dubois, if you actually go and look at Dubois, his construct is such a way that it's kind of how would I explain it? It's almost difficult for him to get out of the way of certain shots. And I flagged a lot of that in the build up to the Joshua fight. Joshua couldn't exploit it. And I'll do a bit more kind of film study in the run up to this fight, more so in February, because I'm going to go home for about 2 weeks. And I'm going to do the bulk of the kind of previews there. And if you look at Dubois, even when he actually tries to slip a shot, he's still so off balance when he does that. He ends up just being an open target. I don't agree with that. It should have been. Yeah, I agree. No, you're right, Alex. I agree with you wholeheartedly. At the end of the day, Frank Warren is the promoter. He's the promoter of both guys. This is an in-house fight. So, in theory, it should be Don Charles, Andy Lee, and both fighters. Personally, I prefer it if it's just both fighters. I don't really like. Yes and no. I mean, I suppose if you're dealing with two very reserved characters, you'd maybe need someone like an Eddie Hearn, a Frank Warren in there just to spice it up a bit, or both trainers. I don't think it's right having a promoter sit in a fighter's corner when, they're both Queensberry fighters. It's an in-house fight. So Joseph Parker would obviously be feeling aggrieved. Frank Warren's obviously shown who he favors. And I don't think that was right. I think, of course, you're right. Don Charles 100% should have been there. Maybe they felt as though, and again, I'm just speculating here. Maybe they felt because Don Charles is such an emotional character that the minute, someone like Andy Lee stuck it on Dubois, with Frank Warren, Frank will try and deviate. He'll try and shout them down. Don Charles just goes off on one. And maybe they were more worried about him doing that and thinking, well, look, Frank will just, be what Frank is. But Don Charles, God only knows what he might say. Yeah, he was trained by Kevin Barry. He's much better under Andy Lee. Kevin Barry and Joseph Parker worked together for many, many years. And, I personally never felt it was the right fit. He's lucky that he left Kevin Barry when he still had plenty of time left in his career. And I thought he's looked better under Andy Lee. Big up to Jordan every single time. AG, man, big up to you, my friend. Zhang dropped him and couldn't press the issue because he's slow feet and horrible cardio. Now, he was very heavy in the Joseph Parker fight, but he was finished after about 5 rounds. Beat Dubois on points. Congrats on 22K. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, 22K. I think I said in review of the week, I thought that's what I wanted. And yeah, we got it. We got it. 22K onwards to 25, on to 30, and then so on and so forth. Doing well, man. We're doing well. In every department. Granite chin, tons of experience versus power. Parker has, I would say, an above average heavyweight chin. An above average. I don't necessarily want to say granite. He's been down a few times, but definitely an above average heavyweight chin. He's got a much, much, much better chin. Like a granite chin at heavyweight is Filip Hrgović. I mean, that guy has a granite chin. But that's not to say Parker doesn't have a good chin. He's a very good chin. I agree. Oh, that's Joe Choice. Parker training videos are on YouTube. Has he got his own channel? I didn't. We're seeing a lot more fighters, mate, do that now. We're seeing a lot more fighters do that now, showing, who does it? Fidel Riley has a channel. Maxie Hughes' YouTube channel is quite good. Dave Allen's channel is quite good. We're seeing a lot more fighters do it. I quite like it because it gives you a bit more of a greater insight into what's going on. And the training footage, I have to see, I'll have a look at Joseph Parker's YouTube. In fact, actually, I'll do it now while we're here. Joseph Parker YouTube channel. I never knew that. Let's see. Let's have a look-see. Oh, yeah. 10,000 subs. My channel is, my channel's bigger. Happy Gilmore saying, I gotta watch that. I gotta watch some of these videos. Let's have a look-see. Damn. Yeah, that's Ballybrack Boxing Club. I thought it was new somewhere in Ireland. Man, I gotta have a look at somebody. Thank you, man. I gotta have a look at some of these. I have a look at some of these videos when we finish up here. Beating them on points like KO. I'm going to leave a poll up on the community tab after this just to kind of get an idea I'm not even going to say met the victory. I'm just going to say who wins and just see what the consensus is. Adam Quinney. Parker has no power, but Dubois has it in him to bottle it if Parker picks him apart and then Dubois quits in the championship rounds. Well, I wouldn't say Parker has necessarily no power. He's certainly not the biggest puncher at heavyweight, but you wouldn't want to give him a free hit. You definitely wouldn't want to give him a free hit. Weather the early storm and drag him into hot water, and Dubois will quit. Well, he's done it before. He's history of it. He certainly has. And you always worry about a fighter when they do quit. You worry, can they do it again? You know, Parker and Dubois fighting is a massive fight for the heavyweight title. Joe Joyce losing to Chisora, fighting on a random undercard, how times have changed in such a short time as well, man. I think that's the really incredible thing, you know. I mean, in the space of 2 years, the whole perception of Joe Joyce was just completely all over the place. And yeah, you know, it's poor matchmaking, you know, in a way, because when they announced Zhang Zhang as the opponent back in 23, when they announced that, I was like, why? Like, I respect it. I respect Joe Joyce wanting to go in there against Zhang. I respect that. But like, if you've got a guaranteed title shot, why are you risking it against someone so dangerous when you don't actually have to? You know, when you don't actually have to. James, you're bang on. Late stoppage or points. Parker to make Dubois quit once again. Daniel Dubois' father won't let him be picked apart by Joe Joyce, who lost to a slow but vicious Dylan White. Zhang put Parker down and let him off to recover after he was dropped by Dylan White. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say let him off to recover. I think Zhang's stamina is just that bad, man. That's what I think. Against Wilder and Zhang, Parker did well to nullify and avoid big punches for the most part, but Dubois will be more relentless. Well, that's a very good point. That's a very good point, Brad's Boxing Corner. Zhang, when he dropped Joseph Parker, he was pretty quick to go in there and try and, you know, land some shots. Once he couldn't get rid of him, I mean, he was able to drop him again, but, you know, he was way, way slower. And then he had basically no stamina by the end of the fight. Wilder just didn't do anything. Yeah, Dubois is not going to do that. And he's not going to let himself get picked apart. He'll probably try and just... The problem I would have, and the thing is, a lot of Parker people are talking about this. And look, I'll be the first to say it. Dubois, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say reckless, right? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he can be reckless, right? I'm not going to go and say he's, you know, deliberately, you know, looking to headbutt or anything like that. Although he did say in the Alexander Usyk fight in the run-up, by any means. But you do got to take that into consideration. You know, what if Daniel Dubois does get a little bit dirty in there? And just because we've seen this in the past. When fighters decide, all right, I'm going to be a little bit dirty, they can bring themselves back into a fight that they're losing. Josh Warrington versus Finito Lopez, or Luis Alberto Lopez, I should say. Remember that? Alberto Lopez was having a happy time with it. Warrington fell his way back into the fight. He didn't win it, thankfully, but TalkSport underestimate. Yeah, listen, TalkSport will always go against whoever. They like Dubois, so they're going with Dubois. They liked Fury, they're going to go with Fury. The minute Fury lost, Simon Jordan straight onto Dubois. If Dubois loses, onto a Telma, and so on and so forth. That's TalkSport in a nutshell. People are saying, people are saying Parker's a tank. Oh, Parker's a tank because he's been 12 rounds a lot of times, but everything that has been high volume is a problem for his gas tank. Parker wouldn't be, he's not, you know, Mr. 100 punches around or anything like that, without a doubt, and could KO Parker. But I feel if Parker lands on Dubois' chin, he lacks the experience. He might go into a shell. Either way, a great fight. May the best man win. That's from the True Channel. Yeah, man. I think it's going to be an epic fight. It really will. Was unlucky against White. In many ways, man, he was unlucky against White. You know, you go and look at the first 2 rounds up until the headbutt, which is what that was. It was a headbutt. It wasn't a knockdown. Although the referee called it a knockdown, it wasn't a knockdown. He was moving all over Dylan White. I mean, you could see not just the skill gap, the speed gap was just even to like the untrained eye. You could see it straight away. You could see it straight away, and the headbutt really discombobulated him. He let Dylan White bully him at times. He got legitimately dropped down. I think it was round 9, and then it was only kind of after that he came back into it. And I've said it before, I thought that he lost that fight more than Dylan White won it. He won't come in at 230. From what I've heard, he really will come in heavy, heavy, which I don't agree with necessarily with Joseph Parker. I think a good weight for him would be probably the high 230s, maybe low 240s. Next Saturday, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I'm debating whether to go up to Manchester for that fight. You know that? Because I already sent away for press credentials. And I don't know. I'm debating to go up to that fight or not. I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to go up to Manchester just for the few days because it'd be just a bit of fun. But then there's another part I'm like, will I, won't I? So yeah, it's a bit of a let's wait and see. Let's wait and see on that one. I'm looking forward to that fight, though. I have to say, I am. A big up to Lee inside the distance. How are you, my man? How are you? Evening to Lee in the chat. By the way, 105 in the building. How many likes do we have? We've only got 23 likes with 105 people in the building. People, if you haven't already, hit the like button. 20 minutes going. We've only got 20 odd likes. That's just people. Please hit the like button. Help your boy out. Hit the old like button. Let's try and at least get up to 50 likes. Please. It takes not even. I was gonna say it takes 2 seconds. It takes literally 1 second. Hit the like button if you could. Really appreciate it, man. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Just saying. Let's get back in. Parker is outclassing Dubois. He's faced better opponents. Has he? And only lost to the high. I mean, like, he's faced Andy Ruiz. Okay. He's faced Anthony Joshua. Dubois, although he lost to Alexander Usyk, I think Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua, I'm just saying. Oh, hell no. If he's 260, no. Gets laid out stiffer than yeah. We won't go there. We won't go there, mate. we won't go there, man. We won't go there. If Parker wins, then he will get clogged by rematches. That's a good point. That's actually a very good point. There's going to be a rematch clause. And then what will that mean for Alexander Usyk? Because Usyk wants the winner. So what would that mean? Because Usyk would have to hold out. He'll have to wait. And that could actually benefit whoever does win the rematch, because it means then you're kicking the can down the road and you could eventually actually do what Tyson Fury wanted to do and age Usyk out even more. Adam says he still has quit in him, gets tagged easy. The Croatian fella, Hrgovic, landed about 20 straight right. Yeah, he was landing right hands, left, right, and center. Dubois has a good gas tank because he's not pumped up. He's natural. Yeah, that's a very good point. Dubois is a very big, thick-set guy, but he's natural like that, so his body can carry that weight. It's not a problem. If he was naturally 220 and he bulked himself up to 250 pounds, then you got a problem. I'm expecting Dubois to beat up Parker. Did well against Zhang and Wilder because those guys are low volume. Parker always struggles with pressure. He'll definitely be throwing a lot more punches than those two guys for sure. Oh, yeah. Listen, I think he probably does. I think that having his dad there and Don Charles definitely helps. But look, if someone's done it before, can do it again. I've no doubt in my mind that could happen. Hope you're well, mate. Really can't wait for Benavidez versus Morell this week. Who you going with? Because I can't decide. Yeah, you and me both. I've got my prediction already done. You'll see that tomorrow, so I ain't gonna spoil it. Watch my prediction video. I ain't gonna spoil it. But man, it's been a tricky one. It's been a tricky one because I can see how both guys win. Neither guy looked spectacular in their last fight, and that was both their debut at 175 pounds. I would say that Morell is the harder puncher of the two. I think he's got more just brute punching power, whereas Dave Benavidez is more volume. He's very heavy-handed. but I think the bigger puncher is Morell. And when I look at Benavidez, how many punchers has he really fought? You know, Luis Andre is not a puncher. He was a decent power at 154, and he was okay at 160 in terms of punching power, but he couldn't put a dent in any of these big guys. So, you know, I look at that and I just think, you got tagged up a little bit by Andrade in that fight. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. YB Boxing collab. Not really doing many collabs these days, man. I know me and Ade are doing one on Thursday, which I'm really looking forward to. I can't wait for that one. It's going to be good fun, man. That's going to be good fun. Love your videos. Greeting from Ukraine. I wish I could pronounce the name, man. It looks like Leah. Apologies. I wish I could pronounce that, but greetings to you, man. I hope you're keeping well. I hope you're enjoying the vids. Dubois on paper should beat Joseph Parker, his form, but I don't like the Usyk talk. Hrgovic has the best chin in the heavyweight division, in my opinion. Yep, I think you are spot on. Hrgovic, in my opinion, that guy's chin is, and you know, Hrgovic. I mean, God, we've literally heard nothing from Filip Hrgovic for a while now, but he should look at what Dubois did against Joshua and think, well, that didn't happen to me. He's taking shots from Dubois, from Zhang, two of the biggest punchers in the division, and he's fine. You know, he's been absolutely fine. And yeah, you know, I think he still has something to offer the heavyweight division. I think that he's only in his, what is he, in his early to mid 30s? He's still got a bit of time left. So I wish Hrgovic would carry on, to be honest with you. Am I dead yet? Hey G man and everyone, big up. Maxi Hughes' channel is very enjoyable. Yeah, man, I like watching Maxi Hughes' channel. It's very interesting, you know. When he fought Gary Cully over in Monaco, he pretty much vlogged, you know, everything, talked about this, and you know, it was very interesting. It was really good to watch. I really enjoy seeing, because you know, you could say, oh, you could watch IFL or something like that, but it's interesting to hear the fighter's own, you know, perception on the fight, on how it's gone, and them just kind of their immediate thoughts after it, without having, you know, in their own time. I really like that. So Maxi Hughes' channel is good. He's an honest Joe if there ever was one. G-Man Parker. Dubois is going to batter Joe. I'm assuming you mean batter instead of better. He's going to better him. How is he going to better him? Don't think Joseph Parker's a bad guy, man. I'll never write Parker off, but I think Dubois wins late stoppage. Yeah, I'm expecting Dubois late. I don't think he's gonna do an AJ on Joseph Parker. Certainly not. Certainly not. Congrats on 22K. Will Parker drag Dubois into a boring 12-round fight with Parker nicking it on points? Well, first off, thank you. I appreciate that. And no, I think that I don't envision this being a boring fight. I think Parker will try and, you know, keep a distance. He'll try and counter Dubois, but I just think that the pressure of Dubois will just tell after a while. I really do. I think the pressure is going to tell. So I don't envision a boring fight. I don't envision a boring fight at all. I would never write Parker off, but I think Dubois wins late stop it. It looks like Parker will come in heavy for this one. Yeah, I hope not. I hope not. I think his best attributes are his speed. I've said this about fighters so many times. I don't like it when they come in unnecessarily heavy. I really don't. Either Double D early or Parker late. No, I think if we get a knockout, then I think, yeah, it's going to be mid to late. Dubois has a belt now, and he's the type of champion who doesn't want to lose it by any means necessary. He will probably do anything to keep it. Who believed that G-Man never heard of Parker's YouTube channel? Well, I didn't. Simple as. G-Man, controversial opinion. I think Atelma gets beat in 2025. Well, would I call it controversial? Not necessarily. You know, he is looking to be moved very quick. You move someone like Atelma very quick. Now, I think you can, because I think he's talented enough. But let's say you move him quick, he bites off more than he can chew. It's possible. Sure. I wouldn't necessarily say that's, you know, really that controversial, to be honest, which I think it could happen. I mean, let's just hypothetically say you put him in there. I would pick him over Justice Hooney. But let's say, you know, argument's sake, that title becomes vacant, the WBO or whatever. Obviously, he'd get elevated to full champion. Well, then he'd have mandatory obligations. He'd have legit contenders. Let's say he did fight I just hypothetically, I'd pick Martin Bacoli right now anyway over Moses Atelma. I think that might not. I think that could be that could be a tricky one for him. I don't know if it's nailed on, mate, but Turkey is kind of saying it. Once he's saying it, then you're kind of like, all right, we know it's likely gonna happen. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's nailed on, but I'd say very likely. I knew when he came out to the Terminator team, he was gonna lose. Oh man, that was when he came out to Mariah Carey. It's like, mate, is that really the best you can do? Is that really the best you can do, Simon Jordan? Really? Do you think Zhang or Kabayel get this Parker Dubois winner? Likelihood is no. Likelihood is they'll probably have to wait. They'll probably have to wait it out. It's just the fight to determine who lose to Usyk next. Sort of interesting, but not really important. The thing I would say is that Alexander Usyk, you don't know. Although saying that, he didn't really take much punishment in the Fury rematch, and I thought he looked. I genuinely, when you look at it back, I thought he looked quite good in that Fury fight. Like genuinely, I was thinking, geez, he's looking pretty good in here. So it's not a formality that Alexander Usyk is going to just age now overnight either. Because I thought he looked really, really good in that Fury rematch. I thought he looked better in the rematch than he did in the first fight. Ever quits again. Dude has turned a corner. This ain't holding backwards. Demolition is all. He too much MSG. Big Parker fan, but let's get real. Dubois will make Parker fringe level, much like when AJ made him fringe level years ago. Yeah, the AJ Parker fight wasn't great. It really wasn't. Like it really wasn't. It really wasn't, to be honest with you. But and people say the referee didn't help things. Well, who's to say Joshua couldn't have done more up close as well if the referee wasn't there, or if the referee was letting them go up? At this point, Dubois is an experienced heavyweight, fights against AJ, Joyce, Hergovich, and Miller. Yeah, man, that's actually, it's crazy to think he's fought all those guys. Look, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt with the heads and say that he can be a bit reckless. But when a fighter says, I'm going to win by any means if I have to foul, then yeah, you kind of know what you're going to get, don't you? Parker is a busted fighter. Dubois applies pressure for the whole bursts fighter. Warrington headbutts, yeah. Josh Warrington and his headbutts. Uses his foot movement and hand speed to frustrate Dubois. Triple D quit against Joyce. He quit against Usyk, and he wanted to quit against Big Baby. It's in his DNA. I think he was going to quit against Hergovich until I didn't really see any quitting him in that fight, though. I don't think he'll fiddle his way to a UD. Oh, if it was a 15-rounder, it was done. White was finished. Frank Bruno would have murdered, you mean, Dubois. Dubois' volume and gas tank are triple. Yeah, he's not going to... I think he'll have learned his lesson. He's not going to stand in front of Dubois. I doubt it. I trust that Andy Lee did say that Fury would definitely outbox you. You see, him and Tyson are cousins. Him and Tyson Fury are cousins. So he will say all the superlatives in the world about Tyson Fury. So I wouldn't necessarily look, when someone's close with him like that, he's going to say X, Y, and Z. If Parker's 260, I would, no. Please, no. Yeah, that's ideal for Parker. That's ideal for Parker. If you're a betting man, Dubois on points, that's an... I wonder what the odds would be on that, by the way. Oh, and by the way, 105 in the building. Gonna just ask, because we only have 47 likes. Let's see if can we get it to 60 likes, people? Hit that like button. Just, real quick, hit the like button. Just get this stream seeing. We want to get to 23K. No one talking about Benavidez, Morell. Oh, I will be. Don't be worried. I will. That's coming tomorrow. Have no fear. I'm looking forward to that fight. Really, really looking forward to that fight. Ade was saying he's going to do it. Well, thinking of doing a live watch along in his video today. I won't be. To be honest, I won't be. I won't be doing a live watch along personally. For me, Doing those late night fights now, I struggle really to get up for them, and I literally mean I struggle to get up for them. So I won't be, but I'll be doing a review first thing Sunday morning. Zhang land, Dubois will definitely land. Shields versus Perkins, I have mate literally no idea. I would imagine Clarissa Shields would win, but I've literally no idea. Big up to Rob from New Zealand. How are you, my man? Zhang hits harder than Dubois, in my opinion. Hey, it's mine as well, man. So you're not alone in that one. Look what he did to Joyce compared to what Dubois did to Joyce. The thing is, you need to remember though, and I will say this: Joyce boxed a lot more safety oriented. He was a lot more wary of what Dubois was bringing when he fought him. You know, he didn't fight as reckless. He was a bit more defensively minded against Dubois. Against Zhang, he just didn't. He wasn't like that at all. So you have to remember that as well, man. I don't usually care for circular arguments, but AJB Parker and AJ, and you mean then Dubois beat AJ, was it all 2.0 AAJ that was going to take the world by storm? If Bakody were to box Usyk now, who would you back to win? Oh man, that's a tricky one. I'm sure, man. I probably would still back Usyk, but I would be really unsure about picking him. Will you ever do present and think you could be good at it? I don't know. See, well, to be honest with you, the opportunities never come up. I don't know, to be honest with you. If listen, if a small hall, because you'd want to do something small. If someone like a small hall promoter was doing a show on YouTube, because you know the way some small hall events that just get streamed to YouTube. If they said like, could you present it? I'd happily do it just to see, see how I felt or something like that. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be against it, but I don't know how I'd feel. I don't know if I'd even like it. So you'd really need to start out small on that one. It'd be interesting, it'd be fun. I've no doubt. But listen, I've spoke to Ade about like how he feels about doing it. And as he said, you could go and do your homework, do everything. He said, as soon as the cameras are on, he said, just everything hits you. So I can only imagine. And I'm thinking like just a small little dinky show in the York Hall. That'd be fun. I can only imagine what it's like going to like these arenas or Wembley Stadium. Ali Boombaye, Dubois, Boob and Wobbles. As we always do, we always read out the. Can I leave a love? Hang on a minute. Say love. Can I leave a love heart on that? When I say love heart, I mean like. Oh no, wait. No. Sorry, mate. I see your super chat. I'm gonna bring it up now. I just want to leave a. There we go. Boom. Look at that. A big up to Adam, as we always do. We read the super chats on here. £40, man. I swear. You are a legend, man. I need to send you something to say thank you at some point. I really do, man. I need to send you something to say thank you at some point, even if it's a bottle of whiskey, or I don't even know if you drink, but I will, because you're too good, man. You're too good. Hey, G, great to see you live. Do you give Morell much chance this weekend? May I give him a serious chance? Man, I give him a serious chance to win. I really do. I got my prediction video already done. I have decided tonight I wanted to do a live, so I'll upload that probably tomorrow around about 6 o'clock, 6, half 6, because I think it's an epic fight. It's so intriguing because Morell punching power, he's aggressive. Listen, I don't think Benavidez is not the bigger puncher, and he's in there with someone who's just as big as him. It's going to be super interesting, and he's in there with someone like Morell is so aggressive, as is Benavidez. He's going to be able to force the action, just a bit like Benavidez as well. He's not going to stand off like that guy Vodcek, because Vodcek was very it was a weird performance by Vodcek last time around. Whereas Kaladze, I think Morell was just forcing his work so much that he looked like crap. Like he really did. I don't think he's going to do that this time. I think he's going to be a lot more measured and pick his moments. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be epic. I really do. And I do give him a very good chance to win, man. I give him an excellent chance, to be honest with you. Um, isn't Hergovich training with Abel Sanchez? I can't say I recall. What happened to Abel Sanchez? After Triple G left him, he's just gone quiet. He's literally gone quiet, hasn't he? I'm sticking a ton on Parker by stoppage. Fine, show G, man. Peace out, everyone. Thank you, James Jameson. Big up to you, man. I hope you're good, man. What would be the main event for Frank's debut on the zone? Do you know what? We haven't really heard about it, to be honest with you. And I haven't heard anything either, to be honest with you. I might hear something by the end of the week, but I haven't heard it, man. I genuinely haven't heard anything. I really haven't. He's not going to do, he's not going to start with the zone and do something, you know, really small time or anything like that. He's not going to do, like, I'll give you an example. Eddie Hearn has a next gen show this Friday in the Indigo. He's not going to do something like that. He's not going to do like a York Hall show or something. It's going to be a massive boom, you know, it's going to be something. uh Jordan Perry, man. Yard versus Arthur Tree is that boring. I might have a sleep before the main event. It's just, man, I I just I can't. I I just I can't do it. I can't. Heard it's Wadley versus Miller could be Warren's first. I have not heard that. I've not heard that particular fight, but I have heard Wadley as the name who, like, they want to have the first show with. But I haven't heard any, like, obviously, like, names as in opponents. But that is the name I've heard that they were looking to do the first show with. Yeah, makes sense. Do it up in Ipswich if there's an arena in Ipswich, or do it in London, one or the other. Um, what do you think Turkey? Sorry, what do you think that Turkey can't get lightweight American fighters on board? Dozens are out there, and what we get is Shakur. I think in America, it's still very much that, you know, in order to make it, you got to be in America, and they still have that kind of. I think they still have that kind of mindset, which is, you know, I mean, lately, when are the big shows in America nowadays? You get maybe one a year, and the rest are all in Saudi or the UK. Has a channel, it's class, goes into every detail for every fight camp. Recent video on Paro was fine. Man, I gotta start looking at some of these guys. Does Ben Shalom have the potential to be the greatest? uh, Look, anything can happen. It's a crazy world, but if I was a betting man, I wouldn't be putting money on it. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be putting my life savings on it. Listen, Zelfa Barrett is an interesting fighter. He's fringe world level. He's not a bad fighter by no stretch. I don't listen. Jazza Dickens, I seen him nearly 2 years ago get absolutely. This was a horrendous knockout loss in. It was in the Middle East. I think it was either in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, one or the other. And I mean, after that, I was like, he should not be fighting. Like, he looked washed to bits on fight camp when he fought Kid Galahad. That's nearly 4 years ago. And he was beaten up, and he was really beaten up in that fight. And following on from that, 2 years later, he gets one punch. And if you haven't seen it, just type in Jazza Dickens, just type in 2023. It happened in July, and I mean, that was a chilling knockout loss. I just don't want to see him fight. Zhang versus Dubois, that would be very interesting. And yeah, it would be. I would edge Dubois too, by the way. 128 in the building, and if you haven't already, do please hit the old like button. We want to, as I said, I hit 22k there on Monday, and we're already at 22,040 subscribers. We gained one sub. This live. So big up. And as always, we read out the super chats. Thunder Productions, thank you for the $20. It's Canadian dollars, isn't it? That's definitely CA Canadian. There you go. See how I got that? Big up, man. I appreciate the 20 Canadian dollars. Congratulations on 22K subs. Thank you, my friend. I much appreciate that. Boom, man. We holy crap, that's been a that's I appreciate that greatly, man. That's 60 quid. Holy crap. Ade is really, really. All right. All right. Let's boom. I swear. It just well, he's gonna hate Thursday then, won't he? He will hate you. Oh man. Say a prayer for him. He's gonna hate Thursday. Bacoli, Parker, Kabayel, Hergovic, they're all the same age. And they're all like I wouldn't call any of them old. So we've still got plenty of life left in those guys. We still got plenty of life left in those guys. It has that kind of strength and the lack of thinking health. Yeah, the lack of thinking. Ain't much. What was it Parker said? I'm gonna beat you smart. Sometime, man. And Dubois, the problem is he just sits there with just that glazed look. I'm gonna beat you smart. All right. If Conor Ben wasn't fighting Eubank, I'd love to see him fight Conor Walker for the British title. Look, Conor Ben, I'd love to see him fight for a British title because he never fought for it. You know, he thought about fighting for world titles. He never even won a British title. Hypothetically, if Oppenheimer was the heavyweight ASAP, you think he could win a world title? Well, I wouldn't pick him against Usyk. But do I think if the belts get fragmented, could he win a world title? Yeah, definitely. I think he could. I genuinely, truthfully do believe he probably could win. Oh no, I think he definitely will win a world title at heavyweight. He won't be as successful as an Alexander Usyk. But saying that, I thought Usyk would win a world title at heavyweight. If you say I was doing this exact same live stream that we're doing here in 2019, and someone asked me the exact same question, but instead of Apataya, they had Usyk, I would say exactly what I just said to you there. I would have said Usyk can win a world title, but he's not going to be undisputed. He's not going to have a big run. Well, he did. So who's to say Apataya? I don't think he's as talented. It says Bacoli's 31. Elsewhere says 33. Let's have a look. Whatever Bacoli's age is, I suspect he's older. I just suspect. It says he was born on Wikipedia. Says he. That's weird. I'm pretty sure, right? I am pretty sure Bacoli was older than me by a couple of years. So I suspect 33. Because on BoxRec, he's listed at the age of 33 years old. I suspect that's maybe even being a bit generous there, but let's say he is 31. I don't recall him ever. I don't recall that. I don't recall him ever being billed as that. Hang on a minute. Martin Bacoli. Tell you what we'll do. Tale of the tape. Let's have a look-see. Oh, wow. Well, hang on a minute. It says when he fought Jared Anderson, they have him listed at 31 years old. All right. That's a while ago. It says when he fought Carlos Takam, he was 30 years old. Actually, look at this. Actually, there's a few. Wow, this is weird, right? So if you type in Martin Bacoli, Tale of the Tape, the Zone have him down as 31. IFL, I don't know where that Tale of the Tape is or like from, but it has him down at 32. What else? Here's another one. Sky Sports have him down 31. When he fought Yoka, it was what year was it? What year was it when he fought Yoka? It was 22. So it's 28. So yeah, it's chopping and changing a bit there. That's never a good sign when that happens as well. You should think it's here's my birth cert, slam dunk, or do you have ID? Here's my license. There you go. Should be kind of a slam dunk. I doubt very much they will. I didn't hear anything. About that. What would be? Oh, that's a good question. What would be your walkout tune? What would your walkout tune be And which fighting style do you think mostly emulates what you will be what's the emulates when you were training? Oh, emulate when you were training. I thought where I'd be training. Walkout tune. Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about that. Style would probably be I would like to think boxer puncher because I was never aggressive. I never liked, I'd always, if I got in the ring, I'd always just look to jab and try and kind of, dip a little bit. If I was ever boxing someone taller than me, I'd always try and just dip. I'd actually try and make myself like a kind of smaller target. I'd dip real low. So I would kind of, but I could also jab a bit well. I was a decent left hand, so I'd say probably more a kind of back foot boxer. I never really saw myself as a pressure fighter. That was never me. In terms of ring music, there was a few I thought about like back in the day. I always said Exhibit X would have been a good walkout tune because that just if you're in the gym and you hear that song, Exhibit X, that's the name of the song, just X, that will get you so pumped. If you're walking to the ring and listening to that, it would be flipping epic. Also thought about Manic Street Preachers Australia. Have you ever heard that song? That just kind of, I don't know, for some reason that used to just get me pumped up as well. So they'd be the two kind of main ones I would look for, I'd use, most likely anyway. Would there be anything? Yeah, they'd be the two main ones I'd probably go for. Probably would settle on Exhibit X just because I really that was good. I liked Exhibit X. That was good. That was a good song. That was real good. I think Zhang had more natural power than Dubois. Seriously, Adam, oh my God, what's G-Man getting you for Valentine's Day? It's also classed as simping when your boy on boy is tipping. Big up to Adam every time, man. Big up to you, my man. Big up to you. Andy Cruz. Now, I didn't see his last fight. I've seen a couple of his fights. Look, he's very talented. Very talented. Yeah. In excitement, entertainment factor, it needs a little bit of something. But look, I've seen Andy Cruz as an amateur. He looked tremendous. I wasn't surprised that, I wasn't surprised that he was going to look a little bit boring as a pro. And yeah, Eddie Hearn's done that a few times now. Remember when he signed Daniel Yurlusinov? And Yurlusinov, it was another one like that, where it was just Andy Cruz is doing more, and I think he's just overall better. But it's another one where you're just kind of like, right, talent's there, but it's just a little bit, or I want to see a little bit of something else. Can really play well technically along a plan, but Dubois still wins. I reckon Adam Azim would even duck Adam Lord. Big up to Adam Lord every time, man. Big up to you, my man. Same again. Usyk will box Bacody's head off. He seems slow. Yeah, listen, I think he will, man. I think if they did fight, he probably will. Conor Hen, Dennis McCann. Man. Weight, different PEDs, all that kind of stuff. Hey, who do you think Yard could have fought instead of Beterbiev? Instead of Arthur, Bivol, Beterbiev, instead of Art? Wait, Lindenart. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah. Who do you think he could have fought instead of Lindenart? Well, he couldn't have fought Beterbiev, Bivol. See the names you mentioned there. I pick him over Callum Smith. Not sure about Boatsi. I pick him over Liam Cameron, Ben Whittaker. It's too early in Whittaker's career. He's not beaten Morell or Benavidez. I wouldn't pick him over either of them. Not at this point, anyway. To have a different relationship. Well, I haven't heard that, to be honest with you. In what way, man? Does he want Frank and Eddie to be kind of at each other's throats again? I don't think anyone would believe it if they were. Because I think they've just been such pally as of late. I don't think anyone would really believe them if they started, becoming, at each other's throats and enemies again. So I didn't know. I didn't hear that now myself, but look, maybe because I do kind of miss it myself. And I'm not going to lie, I do kind of miss the whole, Frank and Eddie going at it. And, I do kind of miss that. I do. And by the way, people, 115 still in the building. If you haven't already, do please. 75. Yes, 75 likes. 75 likes. So We're nearly at 100 people. If you haven't already, do please consider hitting that old like button. I do appreciate it. Means a lot. Means a great deal. Cheeky little like. Richard and Turkey. Interesting fight. This Parker's a tough guy, and I think he can take Dubois' power for how long remains to be seen. I can see how Parker wins on points, but it does. But if he does, then the judges will rob him. Well, no, not necessarily. They've been quite fair. They've been quite fair in in a lot of these shows. To be honest with you, Chris V says, "Hey G man, any update on Chris Andre? I hope he's all right." As do I. As do I. Someone asked me this last time, man. My answer remains the same. I don't know. I'm sure. Look, I'm sure Chris is all right, definitely. But yeah, I do. We all miss him, and I'll reiterate that we all miss Chris. He's an absolute legend. If look, he's taken time away. No doubt in my mind, he will eventually come back. Hopefully soon and better than ever. And yeah, look, I don't begrudge him a bit of a break. He's been away now nearly a year. As I said, we all miss Chris. He's a great channel, and look, I've met him in person several times. I consider Chris a friend at this point, and look, I hope whatever's going on, I hope he's okay. I hope he is. I really do. He said it on Talksport. Thought he meant merger. Oh, and big up to Mr. Luca for the £2, by the way. Thank you so much, my man. I greatly appreciate the £2. I really, really do. A merger. Well, that wouldn't make sense to me because unless he means Matchroom Boxing, because Matchroom is not, oh, for God's sake, really? Anyway, when I seen that, I was like, oh, for God's sake. Well, how could they can't really do a merger with Matchroom because Matchroom isn't just boxing, it's snooker, it's darts. I think he might have another sport there as well, but I know it's snooker and darts. Like the PDC is essentially Matchroom. So you couldn't do a merger in that way. You know, you couldn't do it unless you just want to merge the Matchroom boxing. But I don't know how you do that. You couldn't. Surely not. You couldn't merge Matchroom and Thing. There's no way. Luke Fury. Yeah, Luke Fury. Big up to Luke Fury every single time. Well, it depends. I mean, Dalton Smith did his end of the deal. That guy was terrible. that Wizzy guy, he was man. He was terrible. It does happen. It does happen. They get these guys in there, and yeah, he was terrible. But yeah, Sergei Lipinets, former world champion, he's not terrible, but he's definitely seen better days. I'm not saying I think this, but hear me out. Middle was 300 pounds. Herkovich got cuts from headbutts. AJ walked with his hands by his side. Could it have been? What does that say? Could it have been just perfect? That storm. Well, you know, yeah. I mean, not technically untrue. You know, there was a lot of mistakes by all the guys. People, what a night we are having. Holy crap. Lone Wolf boxing for the 20 quid. People, Jesus Christ, what are we up to? We gotta be up to like that's what, £100? Jesus, that's crazy. In one live. Holy crap. Not that I'll get the £100. YouTube will take a nice chunk of it, but still, that's insanity. Man, people, I really appreciate this. Big up G Man, just arrived. What are your thoughts on Zhang Kabayel? I got Kabayel. I've gone back and forth with this, but I'll finish your comment. I think that if he can get through the early rounds and utilize his shots to the body, which have been crippling fighters, I think he can tire and stop Zhang late. My thoughts exactly, Lone Wolf Boxing. I find it weird. I've never really rated Kabayel. I thought Arslan Makhmudov would beat him. I thought Frank Sanchez would beat him. Frank Sanchez was injured, clearly. But those body shots, he's been picking them very well. And yeah, man, he's been doing really, really good stuff. So I reckon he probably will. I reckon he'll probably beat him. Personally, I reckon he probably will beat him. But man, I appreciate the £20. It means an awful lot. Thank you so much. Well, are there really rumors about those two, or is it just a joke? Listen, I've never heard anything. No one's ever told me anything. No one's ever said anything. I've been in the same room with Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya, and it was nothing but, when the cameras weren't rolling, it was nothing but, hey, how are you? So, because people are saying it was Oscar De La Hoya who started it. But listen, there was no kind of, when the cameras aren't rolling, there was no issues. So, and I heard nothing. It's not a smoking gun. I know lots of people don't wear their wedding rings, so even though they're married. So, listen, I don't know. I've not heard anything. If Eddie Hearn is, well done. That's all I'll say there. Well done. Fair play. That's some good going. That's some good going. But I don't know, is the honest. And again, as I said, I've been in the same room with Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya. No cameras rolling, no issues. Never heard anything. So I can't comment. To be honest with you, I can't say yay or nay. I've never heard anything. Pound for pound boxing says, how tall are you? About 5'11". About 5'11", roughly. I'm just shy of 6 foot. About 5'11". So people just gone over the hour mark there, and I am no. We'll do another 10 minutes. We'll do another 10 minutes. I was gonna call it. We'll do another 10 minutes. We'll do another 10 minutes. Ebony Bridges. Yeah. How do you think a fight would play out with Fundora versus Bakram Murtazaliev if they ever fought? I would say Bakram Murtazaliev would win. I was never really sold on Sebastian Fundora. Never really sold on him. It really did shock me when he beat well, I say it shocked me. It did and it didn't. It shocked me that he beat Tim Tszyu, but when I was looking at it from the outside, looking in the context of it, it's like he was training for Keith Thurman. It was meant to be Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is 5'7". Sebastian Fundora is about a foot taller. It's, you could be the better fighter, but to train for someone who's 5'7", it's like, going from a foot taller. It's like, holy crap. Anthony Yarde's career has been such a waste. Yeah, man, it's not been fun. It's not been fun to watch. It really hasn't. It's because I've always felt Anthony Yarde to be a good fighter, a really talented fighter. And to see Anthony Yarde go like that, not go like that, but be mismanaged the way he is, it's just like, man. How would you have you seen Inoue versus Naz? I'd probably go with Inoue. And say that Naz is naturally Inoue's coming through the weights. Naz was 122, and then he went up to feather. He might very well have. He might have actually tried a little bit harder and stayed in it a little bit more, to be honest with you. James Flint is very limited. But yeah, that guy was pretty terrible, all right. On a fighter, I don't think he'd fought outside of France. Now, saying that, look at Bruno Sarasis. I don't think he'd ever fought outside of France either. And he knocked out Jaime Munguia with one punch. It does happen. But for every one of him, there's about 10 others who just, I heard Dalton's opponent, the Frenchman, his white shorts made out of the old war white flag. Jesus Christ, man. Who donates so much money to strangers? It's fascinating. Well, I greatly appreciate everyone who does, man. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much to anyone donating. I really do appreciate it. It means an awful lot. How do you feel about fighters fighting with injuries? Yeah, I don't like it. Parker recently admitted he was ill against Joe Joyce. Frank Sanchez was clearly injured. Well, with Parker, it's a bit different because that was just that was just the pay-per-view on TNT. Turkey wasn't involved. But yeah, I don't like it because they're fighting compromise. They go in knowing they're not gonna win, and they're doing it for a payday. I don't like that. Yeah, he looked shocking last time. He looked absolutely shocking. He really did. He really did. I know Kel is a bit stinky, but can we get a Channel 5 Brighton show preview? Yeah, of course. When is the Brighton show? It's on. Yeah, when is that's the Harlem Eubank one, isn't it? Let's see. When is that on? Harlem Eubank. Let's see. Let's see. When is that on? Oh yeah, that's when oh yeah, he's fighting Tyrone McKenna actually. He's actually on the show. Matty Harris is back. Okay. Mick Conlon. Oh yeah, I forgot he was going to be fighting. When is that actually? Friday to March the 7th. I'm back home in Dublin that weekend. I'm actually going home that Friday. I'm going home that Friday night. So that's actually not a bad little show, actually. It's not a bad little show. Can you see any more? Oh yeah, no, I can. Oh man, really? Manuel Char versus Tom Schwartz. I mean, no, please, no. Maybe Bivol will win this time because he doesn't have to deal with. Yeah, man, that was yeah, she was. Yeah, she was something else. All right, she really was. I'm surprised. Dimitri Bivol is, a very screwed on guy, and man, I wouldn't trust that girl an ounce. She really knew, man. I wouldn't trust that girl an ounce. I really wouldn't. Any idea what happened to Jamie over at Punch Perfect? No boxing contact for 2 months, taking a long break in 2024. One of the most informative voices. I don't know. I know Jamie is still doing his Patreon shows, his betting shows over there. I know he's still doing them. I think maybe he's just maybe getting more out of them than he use YouTube. I'm not too sure. But I know he's not, I still speak with Jamie. I know he's very busy. I know he started a new job last year, so that was taking up a lot of his time. He's got some other things going on. Nothing bad in his personal life. So I know he did a recent move. I think, did he move last year? He was telling me, or start of last year, the back end of 23. It was one or the other. So he's had a lot on. So, I understand that, you've only got so much time in the day. And his breakdowns were brilliant. I remember Christina, is it Poncha or something like that, on Top Rank on one of the Japanese cards. She actually referenced Jamie and thanked him because basically she got all of her knowledge on these Japanese fighters watching his videos. So high praise, you made it on the Top Rank. Yeah, Matty Harris just came across as just a bit out there, to say the least. And yeah, he came apart pretty quick, didn't he? My man came apart quick in there. It was, and that was against that Doboshenko guy. Was it that, or was it? I think it might have been against that Doboshenko guy. So yeah, it was an interesting one watching him. It was an interesting one watching Matty Harris. But one thing I will say, he's got punching power. He's got punching power. The Telma couldn't drop that Doboshenko guy. Very cute fighter. Very cute in that sense, because he's still not been stopped now. I think he even brought Huey Fury the distance. So that Doboshenko guy, for all of his flaws, there are many, he goes the distance. He doesn't get stopped. He really doesn't get stopped. He really doesn't. Christina Poncha is effing. What I would do to that. Oh my God. She's about what? She's in her 40s, isn't she? Pretty sure she's going to be in her late 30s, early 40s. Not necessarily Char, of course not. Just somebody at lower levels to give Joshua a confidence builder. Oh, I was thinking you were like Tom Schwartz Char. I was like, what? I was like, that's a random one. Someone mentioned Manuel Char 2 years ago before Joshua fought Franklin. I remember there was a couple of boxing scene articles about that. People were suggesting Manuel Char. I doubt Joshua would go on an undercard. I think with Joshua it would have to be main event. Someone like a Dylan White, he's not going to jump in straight away like with a Martin Piccoli. I mean, the Saudis would have to pay him an absolute king ransom in order to do that. So he's not going to go in with someone like that. But yeah, Tom Schwartz, someone like that, could see it. Could definitely see it. Could definitely see it. The people just gone over 1 hour, 10 minutes. So I am going to call it there for the evening. Man, this was fun. I had a good live. This was a good live, man. And it just, it's a good live when it flies in. So before we finish up, I'm just going to say big up to Adam, big up to Thunder, Mr. Luca, and Lone Wolf Boxing. I appreciate you guys. Big up to Ben, everyone else who locked in. Cheeky Chicken, big up to you. Big up to everyone. Big up to Jordan, long-time sub as well. Big up to all you guys, people on the way out. If you could hit the like button, smash the like button. Oh, Lone Wolf, you're making me stay on. Big up again. I appreciate that though. Big up, big up, big up. And I will read that out, by the way. I will read it out, so have no fear. Holy crap, what a day. Yeah, that's a good. Do you know why the WBA has two different designs for their do they have two different designs? Really? At first I thought it was a bit different. I didn't. Hang on a minute. WBA regular and super. Oh. Yeah, it does look. Oh wow. Yeah. This I'm assuming. Hang on a minute. I'm assuming the one on the if you go and look at it, you can see it here. You can see Gilberto Mendoza in the middle. It does kind of look that way. The one on the right looks a lot nicer. So I'm assuming that's the super. It looks more blingy. Yeah, I never noticed that. The bigger question, mate, is why in God's name do they have two titles? Period. You know, but that's the WBA. The WBA and WBC. It's like a competition between those two. Who could be the worst? Who could be the worst? It's never who can be better. With the IBF, the WBO, it's like, or how can we be better? How can we show that we're not this, that, and the other? With the other two, it's just like, right. How can we make ourselves look even worse? Let's do it. How can we do that? But mate, I greatly once again appreciate the super chat. People, thank you all for locking in. Greatly appreciate it. Absolutely brilliant as always. Now I'm going to end it. And thank you all once again for locking in. People, it's much appreciated. Until next time, we'll probably do a live on Sunday. All things dependent. Once again, thanks to everyone. Peace and love, people. Peace and love.